time, but I just thought I'd bring the design to show you. You may think it's a little bit strange, really, to think of doing a garden to raise awareness about this issue. But for me, it makes absolute sense because gardens can touch us in a way, I think, like nothing else. Gardens, nature, landscape, you only have to go outside and look at the spring day. Spring is arriving, I think, finally. And to know that there's something about nature and landscape that really moves us. And I think when it comes to a subject like modern slavery, we need to engage people's hearts as well as their minds. I think if people are going to take action, if people are going to do something, it's when their hearts are moved that happens. And I think a garden is the perfect vehicle, really, for expressing what we know about this issue. So we're very fortunate because in the Chelsea Flower Show, there is part of the show called Fresh. And in that part of the show, designers are allowed to sort of push the boundaries a little bit and create gardens that are full of meaning. And so they're not the usual gardens with a patio and a lawn and a planting bed. You're allowed to create something that's a little bit more like an installation or an artwork. And so for us, with the modern slavery garden, that's perfect. And what I've tried to do is create something that will be enjoyable for people to look at because they're going to go to Chelsea to have a lovely day. They want to see flowers and celebrate gardening. So I wanted to create something that they would enjoy. And it's going to be brightly coloured and eye-catching on the outside with lovely, lovely flowers for people to look at because I have to be a little bit strategic about it. It's very crowded at Chelsea and there are lots of beautiful gardens to look at. So we have to have something that's attention-grabbing, eye-catching. And the message is quite, or I hope is quite instantly there for people to understand. As you can see, there are doors standing upright in the garden. And I was inspired to use these doors when I just went wandering around Chelsea itself. I went there to get some inspiration, and I saw, of course, the iconic Georgian streets with the beautiful doors and the railings. And I just thought, I know for a fact that behind some of these doors, people are held in captivity. It's a beautiful Chelsea road that I'm standing in, but I know this is happening behind some of those doors, so why don't I use that in the garden? That was where the idea came from. So here they are, the doors standing and the railings. And then in the centre of the garden, it's darkness, and that represents the inside of the houses or whatever buildings where people are in captivity. And once you've got that sort of initial message, which is very, very easy to read, I'm hoping that people will want to know a little bit more and become engaged with the garden. And that's where I've got sort of subtler layers of meaning that people can read into the garden if they want to. So, for example, standing in the middle of the garden is this tall oak tree, which represents William Wilberforce and his original work and the work of his team. And then around the base of the oak tree, there are smaller oak saplings. We're very fortunate because some slavery survivors are growing the saplings for us at the moment, and they're very pleased to be involved with it. And those oak saplings represent the ongoing work of people who are working against slavery today. And so we've got that theme of oak carrying on from the Wilberforce oak through the saplings through to the open doors, which are made of oak, and those are the doors that represent the way out to freedom. And those doors have to be opened from the outside. We have to open them. So there are handles and letterboxes on the outsides of all the doors, but not on the inside. A bit like the painting, I've forgotten, you know, Jesus stands at the... Holman Hunt, thank you. Jesus stands at the door and knocks. And And then there'll be numbers on the doors, and they're not just any old random numbers, they're numbers that represent the statistics that you've been hearing about. So again, we'll give information on the website and on the leaflets to people if they ask, why have you got that number on the door? And we'll have more information for them. And then another smaller point is that inside the garden, the doors are black on the inside, and we will have some inscriptions etched in glass, which will be quotes from people who have worked against slavery. So we've got a quote from Wilberforce and, I can't remember, you'll have to... thank you. Oh, Theresa May, the Queen, I can't remember the others, you'll have to look at the website. Come and look at the garden. And then the last thing to tell you is that all these doors have, of course, they've got the brightly coloured flowers on the outside, which represents the front gardens, but there is no path from the door outwards. There's just planting. So it looks like beautiful planting, but that is part of the barrier. It's part of the way that's blocking people to come out of those doors. So again, for me, it was about just thinking about our lives and how we have such a privileged freedom. And when we walk down the road, I just think that people are generally, happy in their homes, they're free. But then there is this hidden captivity that's going on. And I hope very much that you'll be able to come and see the garden in May. But if you can't see it, I'm hoping that it'll be on telly. Well, I know it'll be on telly, actually, so watch out for it on telly. And I'm hoping it'll be in the press. And please, if you do enjoy the garden and you think it's a good idea, vote for us for People's Choice, because then we get even more coverage, which, of course, what it's all about. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you.